you're running a one-shot or a con game, how do you start in a way that'll immediately grab the players that you know you only have a few hours to make great stories with?
A rule of thumb in improv that I think works well for this, which is to start in the middle. So when you're on improv doing a scene and you have a couple minutes, you don't want to start with like someone knocking on the door and coming in and shaking hands and saying, "Hi, I'm so and so and I'm so and so," because that kind of eats up dead time. You really want to start in the middle of like a conversation or an argument or something's already happening, and you don't want to rehash what you did kind of in the intro. Like if you already know two people are arguing over the line in between their houses because they're neighbors, you don't want to like have someone out there being like, "Oh, I'm just noticing this for the first time." You want them to be like, I don't know, catching things on fire and already in the middle of it. So I think as much as you can, starting in the middle of like that relationship, of that conflict, of the fun thing you're doing, exciting. It doesn't all have to be conflict, but yeah, don't build up to something. Don't rehash something you did in the intro. Start in the middle.
Particularly my game Clash that I've been working on for like 3 years and done nothing with. The entire point of the game is it's a game about conflict, and I've run it a couple of cons multiple times. And the big thing you do whenever you start the game is you set up who is fighting over what and what team you're on, and then you kind of set them at each other like mad dogs, and it goes pretty excitingly. But I've tried to replicate that with other games by finding the kind of questions that people have and making those into a big goal, and angling people as much as I can, player to player and player to NPC, giving them relationships immediately that they have to resolve something in. Otherwise, people tend to get bored if they don't have something to aim for right away.
The number one thing to me is you have to get the players taking action as soon as physically possible. The point where you turn over the game, where you're no longer narrating the beginning, you're no longer doing setting building, and they are actively doing something. And that, I think, is one of the big keys to get them moving and to get them engaged with what's going on. I of course, Kirsten came at it from the improv world. I'll come at it with the same conclusion, though, from the literary world, which is in media res. Coming at it from a section of okay, all of the little backstory. We are playing tabletop, and especially at a one shot or especially at a con game. Okay, all of the meat at the tavern stuff, we don't need to spend time on it. Okay, you all have agreed from the wizard to go kill the ogre. You are now in the woods moving forward, or okay, you need to now go supply. These people in the town, yada yada yada. Go. Let's get things moving forward and giving them agency of the story and agency of their actions as soon as possible, because the longer that you get from start to that point, you just get dwindling interest and dwindling energy. You have to get them engaged so they know it's their story, and that way you can start building it up the other side. So,
no, it all comes down to situation. I will start with a strong, immediate situation, try to keep that delivery 2 or 3 sentences, and then we're off and playing. There's a heist you have to go do. You're part of a thieves guild. Everyone, is in. We need you to steal this thing and run off with it. Now we're off and running. I've done that, and so for me, it's the situation. If we go in with a hot, strong situation, those next 3 or 4 hours, everyone's engaged, and then that works for me.
Yeah, Lady Blackbird to me is the epitome of the best way to kick off a con session. That little Star Wars crawl, that you have.
Right.
I love that. I'll be honest with you. It's like my favorite part of the game is reading that aloud. Everything else that happens after is pretty great, but I know that part's gonna be good.